time blocking. We've all tried it before, but it definitely works better for some of us than others. So if time blocking hasn't quite clicked for you yet, or if you feel like it causes a little friction in your planning, you aren't alone, and there is a better way to do it. Today, we're going to talk about the 2 key reasons why time blocking can cause friction in your life, one simple time blocking change that you can make to fix these pain points, and a couple of quick examples to illustrate that. But before we jump in, I want to give a shout out to one other great resource for time management that honestly, I've never been super good at: bullet journaling. But recently, I picked back up an amazing bullet journaling class from our sponsor Skillshare that I started a while back. For someone like me that can struggle with that creative, aesthetic element of planning, this class breaks it down so well. And that's honestly a common thread across every Skillshare class that I've taken. I'm always impressed with how well organized and comprehensive they are. And it's one of the many reasons I'm always sharing about Skillshare and why I can confidently say it's the best place to learn anything online. If you've watched some of my other recent videos, you know that I've taken classes on sourdough, productivity with Ali Abdul, and even YouTube video production. It's never too late to explore a new hobby or learn a new skill, especially when the teacher is an expert in their field. If you're willing to make the time, these things can become fulfilling parts of your life. And right now, you can take all of these classes for free. If you're one of the first 500 people to use the link in the description or this QR code, you'll get an entire month free trial of Skillshare. So before we jump back into time blocking, feel free to pause this video and go grab your spot real quick. And if Skillshare helps you pick up a new hobby or learn a new skill, make sure to tell me about it down in the comments. Now let's jump into time blocking. To start us off, the 2 key reasons why time blocking can cause friction in your life. Number 1 is because you're too specific, meaning you are outlining too small of time increments in your day. We are not blocking out 15-minute segments or even 30-minute segments. Now, everybody's time blocking is going to look different, but mostly we're talking from about 1 up to 4-hour blocks. And generally, I think that 1 to 2-hour blocks work the best. I think when we're too specific, like this is going to be done from 8 to 8:30 or 8 to 8:45, and we don't get it done, then we start to panic. We don't know where to put that task, and we don't know how to fix and rearrange the rest of the day, which we have also time blocked into such specific little segments that it's not very flexible. The second key reason why time blocking may not have worked for you is you're not sticking to the schedule. So you're letting time bleed through. Let's say you give yourself a 2 or 2.5 hour time block for your deep work. I looked it up though, and most people can only concentrate deeply for about 2 hours max on deep work before needing a break. So first of all, if you're scheduling deep work for more than 2 hours consecutively without a break, you're probably going to have a problem. But let's get back to the time bleeding through thing. So an example, if we give ourselves a 2-hour time block, and yet we want to keep working on whatever we've listed in that time block. It could be one deep work task, or it could have been many tasks in that time block. It could have been housework. Whatever you were doing in that 2-hour time block, if you don't stop when the 2 hours up and move up to your next block of time, or you probably have a little break buffered in, we're going to talk about that, then number 1, you will have missed your little 15-minute break time. And also, you'll be bleeding through to your next time block, which won't give you enough time in there to do the tasks that you've allotted. So these 2 issues, being too specific with too small of time blocking chunks and not sticking to your schedule, so letting your time bleed through to the next time block, I feel like makes us all give up on time blocking. We just decide it's too hard for us, it's too complicated, it doesn't work, and we go back to our old ways. But there is a better way to do it. Rough time blocking. It's about taking bigger chunks of time, like I already previously mentioned, and delegating that to a certain group of tasks. You don't need to have an hourly planner to do this type of rough time blocking where you're taking bigger chunks of time. But I have shown it to you in an hourly planner. And then I've also done a little bit in the Erin Condren Academic Planner, which kind of naturally gives you blocks of time because it's made for different classes, say in high school or middle school. But any planner, especially a vertical planner, can work for time blocking. It does not need to have any hours listed. So I wanted to show you both ways. So first of all, with time blocking, if you assign a different color of mild liner, highlighter to different tasks, then that can really help your brain every time you see that day. You don't have to write much. You would just know exactly what that time block is for. Now, these are for 3 different people's lives. So as you can see, they look very different because this is not the same person. But if it was the same schedule across the week, then you would kind of have memorized when you see a certain color of highlighter, what that time block means for you. I wrote a little bit more on here because I wanted to put it up here for explanation. But when you're doing it for yourself, you don't have to list everything out in that time block. You can just put that block of time and then all the little tasks that you want to get accomplished in that block of time. If it's not something that's just naturally flowing, like you wouldn't know what to do if you labeled it your admin work 2 block, your work 2 is your admin stuff. If you need a list for that day, I recommend having a little notebook to the side for those tasks. Okay, let's go through these 3 different people. This is someone who has a typical work day with maybe an 8 to 5 job, and they have meetings during the day and a specific lunch break. They might do their deep work in the morning in the first 2-hour chunk because that's when their brain is the freshest, when most people have their peak energy hours. Then they factored in a 15-minute break. You wouldn't even have to label that every day. You would just know it came there and you could assign no color to it just in that little 15-minute time slot. But it is really good to buffer in about 15 minutes in between your different time blocks because we all need breaks, you guys. Breaks improve our productivity. A 15-minute reset or a 60-minute lunchtime can keep your energy up and you will actually accomplish more. After their 15-minute break, then they go back into their deep work, which is all their blue, this color blue. So that's a different blue. So they will have finished all their deep work in the morning. Then they're going to do some admin tasks for a chunk of time before lunchtime, and that's their pink. Then they have their 1-hour lunch break, and then they have a block of meetings. Then to finish out their workday, they finish up with what they term light tasks. So that can be anything that they need to wrap up or loose ends. It's not your deep work. And then they end the day by reviewing and planning for the next day. That's always a good idea at the end of the day. I feel like whether you have an 8 to 5 job, whether you work from home part-time and have kids at home with you, or whether you're a full-time stay-at-home mom, I think if we end our day with a little review of the day, what got done, what didn't, and plan for the next day is a good idea to always have a little chunk of time at the end of the day for that. This schedule is like a mom that has kids with naps. Napping and time blocking is so good. So first she has a chunk of time in the morning, which she knows is going to be her mom time because she knows her husband will handle any of the littles that wake up. This is a mom with littles. One of them needs 2 naps a day. So then she has her chunk where both kids are up and they play and do the laundry. And that's pretty much all you can get done with 2 littles, like if you have a baby and a toddler. Then though, the baby goes down for its first morning nap. And that nap time is pink. And she knows in that time she can have her toddler maybe watch a show and she can get some emails done, do some online orders, maybe a grocery order even, and get her dinner meal started and prepped. Then her baby's back up and they have lunch and play together. But then her baby's going to go back down for a nap too. And she's going to have some one-on-one time with her little bit older 4-year-old kid. I know I said toddler, but I didn't put him down for a nap. So I'm thinking they're more 4. You guys, sometimes I mess up when I make made up schedules because I'm like, wait, I just said in my head that was a toddler, but now I'm like, they're not going to take a nap. It gets complicated when you're making things up that aren't real, but let's just go with it. So she has one-on-one time with her 4 or 5-year-old, and then they have dinner prep once the baby's up. She had already started it earlier. They eat pretty early because when you have young kids, you do that. They have their baths and their bedtime routine. But as you can see, she has kind of bigger chunks throughout her day, and 2 of the chunks are based on what she can get done in nap time. One of the nap times is for like all her little admin tasks and some housework, and the other nap time is for spending quality time with her older child. So looking at your day in blocks of time that make sense to you and your family is what rough time blocking is about. This is a part-time work from home mom, so she has a lot of flexibility, but she also has kids at home with her, but she really only needs a couple hours of work every day. And her work 1 block is all she needs to do for her job. That's from 8 to 10. Then she gives herself a lunch break. And then her work 2 block She deems that as stuff for her family, like admin work for the family, emails, grocery shopping, all the online shopping we all need to do these days. And so she keeps these lists separately on just another list notepad. What do I want to do in my work block with my job today? And what do I want to do in my second block of work time, but that's for the family. And then she fits in an hour of housework in a block before it's pickup time for the kids at school. And then that's her big chunk. She just labels kids time, and she knows what their schedule is and what she can get done in that time. It's basically dinner prep and homework with them and taking them to piano lessons. Those are just her big blocks for the day. In this academic planner with Erin Condren, this is the first year they've ever done this layout. And I do have full reviews of these planners. We'll link those videos down below. I also have a $10 off code if it's your first Erin Condren purchase. All my planner discount codes are linked down in the description, as well as my affiliate links. Thank you so much to those who click through my affiliate links when you're going to make a purchase. That keeps my channel going more than you'll know. All right, so let's look at this academic planner. This one has 7 blocks of time, but you don't have to do 7 different time blocks during the day because you can put some together like this. You might only have 3 different chunks of time blocks throughout your day. So you can definitely group those boxes together easily just by using highlighters. But if you are using the 7 boxes, here are just some ideas of how they might be mapped out. You might have your morning routine mapped out, and there's a nice space there to list everything that you want to get done in each time block. I think this is a perfect time blocking planner. Then you have work block 1, which might be your deep work, work block 2, which might be your more shallow work tasks that are less demanding. And I didn't put any lunch in here, so this is just kind of like you knowing about what time of day these are. Like you would just know, oh, my morning routine goes until 9 a.m. and then my first work block is 9 to 11. And then I take a break, which doesn't have to be written on here. And these could be for daily habits like walk, vitamins, water. Here's another way to do it in this planner. You have a chunk and you don't label it any specific thing. You label it by time. This is your 8 to 11 time block. This is your 11 to 2. And this is your 2 to 6. And then just evening. So anything that's going on after 6 p.m. And you don't specifically have those labeled because in your life, it's not that planned that, your morning block is always your deep work. That's not always the case. And so you'd rather block it out like this. And you just know after your first block of time, you take your lunch break. After your second block of time, you might have your afternoon snack break and little walk around the block. So looking at your day in big chunks of time and kind of labeling those chunks in your mind, whether it's housework, deep work, playtime with the kids, errands, whatever you need different blocks of time for in your life. And that's going to change by season, by your work schedule, by your kids' schedules. And so it's not going to remain consistently the same the whole year. But knowing how to look at your week and time block it out roughly on the different days, I think can help us relieve a lot of stress and also be able to prioritize and get the most important things done. I'd love to know if time blocking works for you, or if you haven't tried it before and now you're wanting to give it a try. Have you had problems with those 2 key reasons that I think have caused friction in time blocking? Chime in down below. Let me know what you think about rough time blocking. Let's all take a deep breath together. The deepest breath you've taken all day. Inhale. You know the drill. Exhale slowly through your mouth. And let that exhale be longer than the inhale. I hope you get outside today, experience nature. It's grounding, it's calming. You'll always feel better after being outside, even for just a short time. Look up at the sky, look at the clouds, or is it a clear blue sky like it is here today? Thanks for being here. Take care of yourself so you can take care of others, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.